handedness is going to matter. Everything else is just if you want to do it or not. Okay, that's about it with the pitching in terms of the details of the spreadsheet. You can ask me if you have any questions. So a few comments I want to make though about pitching, and then also something about the relationship to pitching versus hitting. So you'll want to hear this for game stuff. There's a lot of modifiers for pitching in terms of what can help you go deeper into the game and what can't. So, for example, if or I shouldn't say that. I say sorry. There's no restrictions on how late you can go into the game. What happens is instead of getting tired, you just lose your effectiveness. So if you give up, can't remember exactly what the rule book says. If you give up 3 runs in an inning, you have to use a worse die. So that's like moving your ERA from 3 to 4. Okay. If you give up like 4 runs total, you have to use a worse die, and those can compound. So it's like you can leave a guy in, but he's going to be a lot worse than his ERA would suggest. And then, but you can also, the die can move the other way. I think it's kind of cool. I actually kind of like this in that sense. I like it better than Dynasty. If you strike out the side, you get to move up 1 die. If you strike out the side, you move up 1 die. If you go 3 innings without giving up a run, you get to move up to a better die as well. Again, those also compound. The limit is here. You can look on the ERA tab. You can't, the best die is equal to this, right? So if you've got a guy with a 2 something ERA, you can only move up 1 die. So let's just say you strike out the side and you go 3 runs. You can only move up to this. You only get one of those. Just something to keep in mind. So your worst pitchers are able to move up a little more. So also related to that, and this one I think is important, is left versus right. So right-handed hitter versus a right-handed pitcher, and left-handed pitcher versus left-handed hitter. The pitcher also moves up 1 die, but the most you can move up is to the die that's associated here. So if I have a guy in the 3 ERAs and he's a righty and he's going against a righty, he actually moves up to this one. Okay. However, this is kind of a weird point, but I read the rule book. It said this. This is the highest like level you can go. So if you already have a guy who is a 250 ERA and he's a right-hander going against a right-hander, you don't get a bonus because you're just not allowed to go to that top die. That's just the rule. So just keep that in mind. So for example, if you like, I have a left-handed specialist, right? Harry Arbor here is the lefty specialist. It wouldn't make sense for me to make his ERA any better than like this, for example. I guess that's kind of gaming the system a little bit, but you can't move up any higher than this against a lefty. So you're already just good against a lefty. So if you have his ERA in the 3s, what did I do here? Yeah, ERA in the 3s. That means his ERA is you use the die that's in the 2. So just so you know, long way of saying it, probably doesn't make any sense to have a left-handed specialist any better than an ERA in the 3s. Just something to keep that in mind. Okay, so 2 other things, and this relates just to everything. I gave this some thought, and I think so I did 3 attributes for pitching, 7 attributes for hitting. I think that kind of makes sense, 3 and 7. And when I was like running earlier, I thought about this. Let's say you want to make a team that is either pitching heavy or batting heavy, right? Because right now, if you just keep it as it is, which I'm going to do myself just to keep it simple, but it's balanced between hitting and pitching. If you want to make your team a better pitching team at the cost of hitting or defense for that matter, you can take 2 attributes over. You can take 2 hitting attributes and trade them for 1 pitching. Okay. So right now, let me just change this real quick. So I'm at the limit here. Okay. So right now I'm using all 7 hitting. I'm using all 3 pitching. Okay. So if I want to, let's say I want to make myself a better pitching team. All right. If I'm willing to sacrifice 2 attributes hitting, so now I'm down to 5, I can spend 1 more over here. So I can make him a control guy and a strikeout artist. Okay. Um, so we'll just keep that ratio, I think. If you want to make a better pitching team, you can give up 2 hitting attributes at the cost of 1 pitching attribute, or vice versa. If I want to make just a better offensive team, let's just say I get rid of all my attributes, right? I don't have to use any pitching. I'm just going to go strictly on ERA. Now I've got 3 pitching attributes, but by the ratio of 1 pitching for every 2 hitting, I can now add 6 hitting attributes. So instead of 7, just go up to 13. I think that's pretty fair. Probably maybe that makes the hitting a little better, but yeah, that should work fine. I will say, as I've been like reading about the game, this is just some other advice. The more attributes you have, it is going to kind of it gets a little more complicated because you need to kind of be paying attention to like when your hitter is up there, like, okay, he's a good defense. I guess that doesn't matter, but he's like, if you're P plus, okay, this guy here, like, so big in McDonald, right? I got to pay attention to the fact that he's a power hitter. He is slow and he makes good contact. So, okay, so I have to keep track of all 3 of those. So it's fine. I don't think it's necessarily that big of a deal, but just maybe something to keep in mind. And so, okay, last item I was thinking about was the way the game is designed, it covers pretty much everything. It doesn't cover everything, like weather, for example. It and the game is kind of designed that way. So the whole idea of being like a table, like a role playing game, is you should be able to kind of make up some of your own rules. So if you guys look at the rule book, and then if you think of anything that you think might be like fun to change, we could change something in the rule book that exists. I'm totally good with that. If you want to like think up another attribute, or I don't know, some umpiring situation, or you want to do something like that, we can add that. Or if there's something that's not taken into account, like I said, like weather, we could roll for weather or something. Probably just makes things more complicated. And we could always think of something on the fly. I'm cool with just if something if we're playing the game and something's not clear, let's make up a rule. That's kind of just how the game is supposed to be played. So that's all I have. I will send this to you guys in an email. I'll send you the link to this to your own created sheets for you guys. I'll send you a link to the rule book. Daniel, I know you already have the rule book, but this is actually a second edition. So if you have time, take a look at it. I've kind of read through it. I think I know it well enough to play the game. Probably need to keep the book open while I'm playing. I'll print off the cheat sheets. I'll print off scorecards. I'll actually print off your team sheets before I leave on Friday. Probably Thursday night is probably when I'm going to print that off. So you can always just like scratch out what I have if you make a change, but I'll print that off. Probably it'll make it easier than like looking at a computer to pull this up. So any questions, just let me know. And I am looking forward to playing with you guys later.